Hi, it's Hans from ERG, currently representing Usman. Usman is one of my exclusive candidates and he's available immediately. Some of Usman's key skill sets would include C Sharp, WPF, and .NET, currently looking for his next role. So Usman, obviously, I briefly spoke about, you taught, obviously having experience within C Sharp and .NET and WPF. So maybe out of all those three, or maybe other three or other ones that you've been involved with, what would you say is maybe your favorite language, or as opposed to your favorite, maybe your strongest language, and why?
Actual language, I would say that C Sharp
Yeah.
is my favorite and strongest. With that said, obviously, C Sharp is just one aspect of programming, and WPF is you could say, the main aspect of WPF would be the XAML, the front end stuff, and how that links in with the back end. The back end is always going to be C Sharp. Same thing if you're dealing with MVC web applications. The front side is all, you could say, HTML, JavaScript, and these kinds of languages. But the back end is always going to be C Sharp. So the foundation or the core of all the programming areas, if you like, is going to be C Sharp. In terms of technologies, which one am I most comfortable with? I would say I'd have the most experience with the desktop applications, so things like WPF, WinForms. With that said, I do have experience with MVC web applications and JavaScript and things like jQuery and these kinds of technologies as well. Which I could demonstrate.
Okay, so you have your own kind of personal projects that you could, bring on board to show clients and whatnot of, examples of work that you've done before in the past. Brilliant. I mean, speaking of those projects, then, if they were demonstrable, what would you say is the one that you have the biggest pride in, or that you feel like you've achieved the most within? I mean, was it when you were working at Workflow Dynamics, your own company, or was it maybe a innovation within Birmingham? What do you feel is your best project or your most proudest project?
My proudest project to be work. I suppose a perfectionist at heart, and I take great pride in my work. Outside of programming, I have been told that I'm a jack of all trades. Because I can put my hand to anything, and I can do almost anything, from carpentry, plumbing, electrical work, even hairdressing. I mean, that's something that, as a hobby, that I've been doing for a number of years. But specifically in terms of projects, what am I most proud of? I would say is that the application that I built for Workflow Dynamics, which is primarily concerned around building EPOS systems, software, and online ordering systems for restaurants and takeaways. Primarily, I would say that is the project that I'm most proud of. Just give you an example of why I'm so proud of it is because the software actually solves a problem for the end user, to the extent that on one occasion, one of my clients, he called me and he was having some technical problems with his computer.
Yeah.
It was to do with Windows and Windows Update, and he hadn't shut the computer down correctly, and it was doing some kind of recovery process, and he was saying to me that, look, I need to get this problem sorted, and I said to him, look, you just need to wait. You just need to let the computer sort itself out, and it will start, and it will be fine. And he said something to me which really stuck in my mind. He says, if I can't get this system up today, I will have to close my shop. I will have to shut my shop down. So the application which I built, the software which I developed and I designed, was so integral to his business process that he couldn't feel like he could operate without it. So it's proof that this software, it works, and it was solving his problem for him. So that's one reason I'm very proud of it. And so another application which I'm also very proud of is an EPOS system, but it was designed and developed for retail shops and stores. So not the restaurant and takeaway industry, but your general retail stores. And the reason for that is firstly
Mm.
because aesthetically it's very pleasing on the eye. But secondly, programmatically is very sound and is
Mm.
very well engineered, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Obviously, other people may disagree, but by comparison to my previous work, this was a project where I
Okay.
incorporated test-driven development as much as I could, and also
Yeah.
implemented solid principles into my coding practices. And as a result of that, I did learn some new programming techniques, styles,
Mm.
procedures, and overall, I saw the benefits of implementing these principles, and I had solutions which were uh,
Mm.
more easily manageable, extendable,
I, I suppose
and adaptable.
in that one then, linking obviously previous work to current work and even future work, you've obviously talked about, the developer role. You also mentioned testing, but obviously you mentioned, personal projects outside of work and whatnot. What would you say, your focus is right now then? What kind of role are you looking for? Or is it a certain company you're looking for? I mean, what if a role was presented to you or a working environment presented to you, what would you think, or what would attract you to a role? What kind of role are you looking for then, essentially?
The kind of role I'm looking for is, I would say, is one where
Mm.
I'm hands-on development. That's where I feel really happy and I feel really comfortable.
Mm.
Where I'm learning new things. I mean, if I learn something new in a day, I feel I have a sense of achievement.
Yeah.
I have a sense of gratification that I've learned something new. I like to build things. The nature of my personality and my character is that I'm very hands-on. I like to
Yeah.
build things. I like to engineer things. Even from a young age, I've always been good with my hands, building things out of timber and solving problems. I like still solving problems, these kinds of things. To be in a role where I am developing and engineering solutions, solving problems, learning new skills. This is the kind of role that I would like to be in, whether that be doing things in WPF. I don't mind.
Mm.
Whether that be MVC, also I don't mind.
Mm.
Both technologies are good. I like both of them, and I
Okay, then.
enjoy working in both of them.
Obviously,
Yeah.
when it comes to kind of the different role, then, because we spoke a lot about what you enjoy doing. What drives you to do that then? I mean, what's your biggest driver? Kind of what's your biggest passion?
My biggest passion is just the sense of achievement that when you have a
Yes.
problem and then you
Yeah.
find a solution. And I guess that is the crux of all programmers. At some point, at some
Yeah.
stage, they had and they exhaust their efforts and their energies on finding a solution, and then eventually finding that solution. And every programmer can relate that eureka moment when you finally get the final piece of the puzzle
Mm. Yeah.
to actually connect and work, and the sense of achievement and the happiness and the joy that you get
Yeah.
when everything
It's
comes
that
together
satisfaction of solving
perfectly.
a problem that so many people took X amount of years or even months to that they couldn't solve, and it's that kind of sense of self accomplishment that I've managed to do it compared to someone else. Then.
If you've achieved a solution where you fix something that nobody else could fix, then obviously the magnitude of that achievement is great. But I'm talking more about on a personal level,
Okay.
on a day to day, when you're trying to achieve some kind of a solution to a problem. It could be any problem. It could be
Mm.
something which is specific to your scenario. Um, from going from not knowing how to do something to learning how to do something and finding the solution and being able to find the answer to your problem
Okay, then.
is an
Brilliant, brilliant.
achievement in
I
itself.
suppose, what would you consider to be different? Why would you differentiate yourself to the, everyone else out there? Because obviously development is a massive market. As you know, there's millions of developers out there. What makes you stand out? What kind of skills do you think you could bring, or what kind of additional features do you think you can provide to a company that they may not see in someone else?
I would say as a personality, I I can I can do more or less any task, whether that be
Mm.
in programming, whether that be in management, whether that be in any different kind of field. And the fact that I've had
Yeah.
my own company for 3 years and maintained and established and kept my own company for 3 years is a proof of that. Without being boastful, running a company has many different aspects to it. There's not only
Mm.
just, especially in the
Yeah.
software companies, not just developing software, that you have to also deal with customer relations. You have to deal with technical support. You have to deal
Mm.
with finance. You have to deal with sales, and all of these different aspects, um, which which I guess is not for everyone. It's not the conventional path that most people will take, regardless of whether they are programmers or not. Most people will not take the
Yeah.
risk of trying to establish their own company. But as myself, is something that I wanted to try, and I've never been afraid to try
Yeah.
something because I might fail. I've always tried, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I'll always give it a go. I'll always try, and I suppose that's what I guess in some respect would differentiate myself from
Yeah,
others
no, I completely
in
understand
some
that.
ways.
Well, Usman, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to yourself. I'm sure we'll be speaking very closely again in the future. Thank you for your time anyway. Cheers. Bye bye.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.